is Dollar Tree Dinners, and we're going to be doing Mother's Day on a budget. I grabbed some asparagus spears from the Dollar Tree, bacon, because we're going to do some bacon wrapped spears. Grabbed some of my bell peppers, a couple of the salmon fillets, and a package of the long grain white rice, because we're going to serve the salmon over the white rice with some bell peppers to make it look fancy, and have the spears on the side with the bacon wrapped around it. The first thing we're going to do is take a look at the directions on the fillet. Then I'm going to throw the bacon into the oven. This is going to be done last because it's the easiest and the quickest. We're going to do the salmon on a skillet. Now you could do salmon on the skillet with your rice, but I'm just going to pop the rice into the microwave and then you'll see it completed on the plate. And I'll be using my special plates that I used Easter time that I use on Mother's Day. This is the wild salmon fillet. It is by Rising Tide. Their popcorn and their other varieties that I've tried are delicious. I'm not a big fan of salmon, but I want to try it. And they double wrap it, and it looks like a decent sized piece. You can also do this in the air fryer too, but it does shrivel up a little bit. So we're just going to do it on the skillet because it's thin. It seems like it's a little bigger. Let's open it and take a look. This is a little bigger of a piece. And you're just going to go right onto the frying pan. I'm going to cook them partly frozen. I'm going to throw them into the microwave for a couple minutes and defrost them. The bacon I can cook partly frozen as well, and we're going to defrost these. I'm going to defrost the salmon right in the package, and then we'll open them once they're defrosted and throw them onto the frying pan. I'm going to prep the tray here for the bacon. The bacon's not going to take that long to defrost in the microwave. It is very thin. Then when we're ready to do this side, this says to put it into the oven at 450 degrees. And we're going to be doing the picture with the bacon wrapped around it. There's 8 pieces of bacon here. Probably about 8 asparagus in the bag. I'm not sure. I've never used it before. They carry these in the frozen department at the Dollar Tree. They also have a jar variety available at Dollar Tree in the canned goods area and in the condiment area. Take a look in both of those parts of the shelves at Dollar Tree if you want the asparagus. The bacon's been hard to find. I was lucky to find a few and I grabbed them for today's Mother's Day dinner. The first one is partially thawed. We're going to go ahead and get it onto the skillet. I'm going to turn it on to about 8. You don't want it overly hot. Spray your pan. Make sure you have the correct burner. I always do. I'm going to grab some pepper and garlic, a little bit of table salt so the oil doesn't splatter up in my face, and some of my cooking oil. I'm going to open up the salmon. And then I'm going to use my thermometer to let me know that the salmon is cooked fully, so nobody chances getting sick. I'm going to lay the salmon down. I'm going to retrieve the bacon from the microwave as well as throw the other piece of salmon on into the skillet here. Again, this is a very generous sized piece. I tried to grab the ones that look the best. I'm going to season it with some oil. I'm going to season it with some oil, a couple of teaspoons, just to give it some nice flavor, and 3 teaspoons of black pepper and garlic. I have the Supreme here from Dollar Tree. It's the best. I love it. I'm going to let it cook a couple minutes per side before we flip it. And once we flip it the first time, we're going to add the stir fry. This is a stir-fry blend with bell peppers, carrots, broccoli, and snap peas. I've used them many times before. I thought it would really spark up and spruce up this dish. Go ahead and spray your foil. I made sure the oven's preheating at 450 degrees. I'm going to open up the asparagus first. These are the spears that I showed you. And with the bacon partly thawed, it'll be easy to work with. And I'm only going to wrap 8 of them so you get an idea of what the bacon wrapped asparagus looks like. Let's go ahead and flip the salmon for the first time. And then I'm going to season the opposite side with 3 teaspoons each. If yours are separate, it'll be 3 teaspoons garlic, 3 teaspoons black pepper. I'm going to reduce the heat even further to half, like a 0.5. It's just below the 1. We're going to take care of the bacon wrapped asparagus. I'm going to open up the bacon. This is awesome bacon. I've had it many times before. And take your asparagus spear. And then you're going to wrap your bacon around it. It's going to look like that. I'm going to do 8 bacon wrapped asparagus. I love bacon wrapped asparagus. It's one of the more fancier vegetables that I really like, that I don't eat that often. Make sure you wrap it up tight. I'm actually only going to do 4 of the bacon wrapped asparaguses. And because they're partly frozen, I'm going to put the rest in the freezer and save the bacon, the other pack, for a different day. Instead of making all of them. Because it's partly frozen. Go ahead and add the entire bag of the stir-fry blend here. And then I'm going to peek at the directions to see how long the bacon wrapped asparagus goes in for. The rice is only going to go into the microwave for 90 seconds. And they say do not open up the top like I was. Just kind of break up the carrots a little bit. They have a little more yellow bell peppers in this one than they did the last one. So that is nice. Go ahead and flip the salmon once more. The oven is almost preheated to 450 degrees. Now the salmon's not burned, so I don't know why it turned black on one side. I'm going to take my lid from my Dutch oven and I'm going to cover it so it cooks. Once the oven's preheated, you're going to put the bacon wrapped asparagus in for 5 minutes, and then you're going to flip it for after that for another 5 minutes. 10 minutes total at 450 degrees. So make sure I have my tongs ready. It's just about preheated, so we're going to get this into the oven. Bacon wrapped asparagus in, directly in the center of the rack. And we're going to time it 5 minutes. That means it's preheated. That was perfect timing on my part. Salmon smells really good with the pepper and garlic on it. Grab my tongs so when the time expires we can flip them easily. I'm going to make sure it's completely done. Dollar Tree bacon wrapped asparagus with salmon over a bed of rice and vegetables for Mother's Day. Now, we're going to take a look at this, see how the vegetables are doing on the skillet. My husband's grabbing a snack. Still slightly frozen, so I'm going to cover them for a few more minutes. We got 1:50 before we turn over the asparagus. And it's going to cook low and slow on the stovetop. It's going to turn the heat up a little bit to 2.5. Make sure you cover it. We're going to go ahead and put this in the microwave and do not cut the corner like I was telling you in the past, because you don't want it to explode everywhere. Put it in for 90 seconds and let it stand, and then it will be ready. And I'm going to let it stand for a few minutes while we're finishing up with the asparagus and the salmon and vegetables. Rice is in the microwave. Let it cook. Now we're going to check the skillet again. Let's check the skillet. I'm going to check on the salmon and the internal temperature of it. The thickest part is where you check. Now we're going to flip the bacon first because that is time sensitive. Then go ahead and open your oven. Make sure you have a pot holder. Pop it back in for another 5 minutes, maybe a few minutes longer if the bacon doesn't look done. Rice is done. I'm going to take that out and let it stand. And we're going to check on the salmon. The rice from the Dollar Tree is really good if you have not had it before. The vegetables are cooking well. Let's go ahead and flip the salmon one more time. I think the best way to cook this is on the skillet rather than the oven and the air fryer because it doesn't shrivel as much. Some of the vegetables are still cold. Let's get these carrots cooked and then we'll check the temperature. The salmon should be 145, the thickest part, as I mentioned. These carrots should be done by now, so let's take off the lid and take a look at the salmon. The rice is cooling down. It smells really good in here. Now to the thickest part, turn on my thermometer. Oh yeah, that is done. And the vegetables are done. I'm going to strain the skillet and we're going to plate some. I'm going to go ahead and put some rice on the plate. That's what it looks like right out of the package. Let that cool way down. The asparagus wrapped with bacon. The bacon wrapped asparagus should be done momentarily. I'm going to grab some vegetables. Lots of snap peas. You can cut the salmon down and put a little bit on everybody's plate. The bacon wrapped asparagus is all done. Now we're going to put some on a plate and I'll show you the final product of what it looks like completed. Some of the bacon wrapped asparagus on the plate. Use tongs, a lot easier than trying to fiddle around with the spatula. There it is on the plate. And I'll show you a close-up. Here's what it looks like on my plate. These are my paisley plates from the Dollar Tree with the matching placemat. I like them a lot. They're very pretty. We like to use them during Easter and Mother's Day. And we use the orange ones the rest of the year. The orange ones are awesome. They remind me of the Rachel Ray pattern. The bacon wrapped asparagus smells so good with the salmon over the bed of rice and vegetables. I'll go ahead and try some. Try a little bit of the salmon. My grandma used to make it once a week when I was growing up. Did a rotation meal plan back in the 70s when I used to spend summers there. Didn't like the salmon. I would eat it because otherwise I'd have it for lunch the next day until it was done. My grandmother was old school. Churned butter with her, snapped peas with her on the deck. My jobs were cleaning the deck and I had to do some weeding in the gardens, but I learned a lot. She made jam, she made fried apples from the crabapple trees, homemade cornbread. Nice spending summers with my grandmother. Seasoned lightly with a little bit of black pepper and garlic. It is really good. Now I'm going to try one of the spears. On Mother's Day and Easter, Christmas, people love to do bacon wrapped asparagus. That was really good bacon from the Dollar Tree, and the asparagus is dynamite. You didn't even need to put any salt and pepper on the asparagus. Just a little bit of butter spray and pop it into the oven according to the directions. That was delicious. It was really good. Now, if you have a larger family, you go by portions and what you need for your family to make this delicious dinner. It'll cost a little more. I spent around $6.25 because some of the stuff I already had on hand, and I just added on to the meal idea of what I needed. So I got away with it cheap because I stockpile certain things. I just recently bought the bacon, and I decided to only do 4 of them rather than 8, just so I can have the bacon for another meal idea. I saw online a delicious beef casserole for Mother's Day made with ground beef and bacon and mushrooms and eggs and hash browns, and I think I'm going to be doing that during the week. One of my friends does not eat chicken very well. They're allergic to it. And Julie Rose, we're going to be doing a ground beef dish for Mother's Day. Here's a close-up of the bacon wrapped asparagus. And that bacon by Farmer John's is so good. It's also the one that does the Italian sausage in the tube, as well as the breakfast sausage links from the Dollar Tree. Check it out.